So this is Rita the Diva here with Glow Ink, and today we are diving into vendor 102. Oh, sorry, 102. Oh, that's what I didn't say. Anyway, so here we go. Let's dive in.
Shawty, what's the move? Shawty, what's the move? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shawty, what's the move? Shawty, what's the move? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trying to chill with you, and I've been trying to get with you, but I can't 'cause you work so late in this.
So my first impressions were, this hair looks kind of big, and I love big hair, and I was like, this looks kind of crazy.
Oh God!
But I'm not going to judge it yet. And even for raw hair, it looked a little bit poofy and wild. I was like, okay, the smell, it did not have, a strong smell at all. It did not smell really, heavily strong of perfume or anything like that. And so the smell was pretty good. Just moving on to the co-wash. Once I actually co-washed the hair, this was my issue. I really have a disdain for hair that's thick at the top and thin at the bottom. And that's what I realized with this hair, that even though I washed it and conditioned it in full, it gave me that big at the top, thin at the bottom, which was kind of crazy, especially because it went from super big to thin. So I was like, and once I see thin hair, like, I'm kind of like turned off from there. But of course, I am, the tester. So, of course, I remained unbiased. But at this point, my just impressions of it once it got wet was that it looked a little bit thin towards the ends. Once it air dried, I was like, okay, it's pretty good. I was able to see a nice, very obvious curl pattern, which was beautiful. And like I said, if you haven't seen vendor 101, like I said, Indian curly right now is hot as it's probably ever going to be. It's in really high demand. So anytime I see those curls, I'm like, ooh. But anyway, so yeah, so they look pretty good. I couldn't really hate on that. Oh, the shed test. The shed test is when I combed the bundle 50 times with a super fine tooth comb. This actually did well, even though the weft did not look the prettiest. It only lost four strands, which was really, actually it was 3 strands. The 4th strand was kind of like breakage. I mean, if the hair actually broke, it wasn't actually from the hair coming out of the weft. So I kind of prefer to look at the longer strands when I'm doing the shed test. But it only lost like 3 to 4 strands, which was amazing. The bleach test. Now this hair actually lifted really well. It had, most of it was lifted really easy to level 8 to level 9, but it also had some 10 really light blonde strands in there to only have been processed for 45 minutes. And of course we use, like I said, we always use B2W, and we always use the 40 Clear Off 40 Developer. Use products that you can always find in the beauty supply store, your local beauty supply store. Because that's what your customers have access to. They don't have access to these really expensive, really high-end bleaches and developers. So I always go with what is going to be accessible to the customer. So it lifted really well. I didn't have any problems there. Once it lifted, I did notice damage, especially toward the ends. I noticed I actually lost some hair with the part that was bleached. So some of the ends actually like snapped off. So flat iron one piece, pass it 1 to 2 times with the flat iron, and I was not impressed. I am a fanatic for bounce and shine. Like I like my hair to snap. I love hair with bounce. And if you talk to most of your customers, they're the same way. Nobody wants hair that's going to be stiff, especially because raw hair typically retails at a premium. Nobody wants to pay these premium prices for hair that's not going to snap when you turn your head. And this hair, to me, it did not have that snap. It did not have that flow. It did have no problem actually curling and holding the curl, but it just didn't have the bounce. Like when I pull the curl, I want to see it go boing like a spring. I don't want to pull it and it's just like, I wouldn't sell that to any of my people. So that's just something to note. So what we do is we apply direct heat to the hair for 45 minutes, 4 to 5, not 45, 4 to 5 minutes. And this hair actually became very frizzy, and it was really unattractive. It came big, but in a not good way. I just was not feeling it. I was like, it just wasn't what I, expect from raw quality hair. The microscope test is where things got real. This is when I knew that this hair wasn't in a great state. Okay, so this hair is indeed Remy hair. The cuticle is intact. It's definitely raw hair. That's not in question. But this is why you have to be on point, and this is why it makes sense to just make sure you're going with people who understand quality and who knows how to test hair. Now, that every single strand that I looked at under that microscope, and it had to be at least 20 strands, every single one of them had damage to the cuticle. And that made it make sense as to why it was so big in a bad way. Is because the cuticles on the actual strands of the hair are sticking up, going in different directions, and you piling all this hair going, you know what I mean, all these different directions. It's like unruly. So that's pretty much what was the problem with the hair. Is that the hair is indeed Remy hair, but it's damaged, which makes it bad quality and it's unhealthy. And this actually is a great segue into the price, but the vendor was actually, his prices are higher than by about $10 to $15 per bundle than what I consider average and what I have found across the board. And, and I'm like, you can't cut me a deal, bro. I'm like, this is the best you can do. He was like, listen, you got to pay for quality and da-da-da-da. And I was like, all right, I trust you. And, I get the hair and it's the exact opposite of quality. So just because it's raw hair, just because it's Indian hair does not mean that it's going to be the best hair. So this particular vendor does not get a pass from me, and I would not recommend this vendor. It actually gets a fail. So nice try. I'm sure you could finesse it. I'm sure you could add coconut oil to it, give it some really good deep conditioning treatments. But the reality of the situation is the hair is not healthy, so it's not going to last long term. So that's vendor 102. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a great day. The information I provided was great. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. I'll see y'all next time. All right.